Hey everybody, it's Shelley Hoffman, and I am here today with Bob Wicks, who, if you remember, is the town supervisor for the town of Lysander. And Bob's agreed to give us kind of monthly updates. Things are, I think, getting back to normal, right, for the town of Lysander. Bob, how's things going?
Yeah, they're going really well, I think. I haven't had any complaints from any residents as far as what they're able to, the business they're able to conduct at the town. I mean, we're open. People can come in. We just got it's cordoned off a little bit, and that's for the employees' protection as well as the people coming in. The less exposure we have to everybody right now, I think it's we're better off because you don't know who's coming in. So, and the people that come in don't know what we're doing. When you do come in, you have to sign in. You have to fill out a sheet that says you're okay. You haven't been around anybody with COVID. It's a pretty simple thing. You take it up to the counter that you're going to and conduct your business.
That's better than what I did. Remember when I stopped in last week, I left my paper on the table. So that was the step that I missed where I actually take it up to somebody. So, but it's as soon as you walk in the door, you can't miss it. There's hand sanitizer there. So that definitely, I think the system works well. So what's new? What's new in our town? Anything?
Well, yeah, I know you had a question about an emergency management plan, and the reason we've been working on it the whole time. The problem with an emergency management plan is when you're starting from scratch is getting everybody together. And what people don't understand if they've never been involved in it, and most people haven't, is there's a lot of moving parts with that. I mean, it's really getting all of the stakeholders involved and getting them together. And that's when we get them all together, you're going to have, even keeping it small, you're going to have 20 to 30 people. So trying to get them all in one room for that initial meeting is very difficult. But we're starting to move forward with it. We got buy-in from just about everybody. That I don't think there's anybody that we've contacted that wasn't interested. So we're going to put together a plan that incorporates Van Buren, Lysander, and the village of Baldwinsville. And that way, because I mean, they overlap. So if Lysander has something, we can utilize the services of the village and Van Buren if we need additional equipment, and vice versa. And when you talk about fire departments, they overlap between all geography. So they'll go over to Baldwinsville. We'll go over into Van Buren and into the village and in Lysander, for example. So we wanted to incorporate everybody. And when it comes to volunteers, there's volunteer groups over in Van Buren. There's volunteer groups in the village in Lysander. We wanted to get them all in so that if we needed additional space, if we had people that were in need, that maybe Van Buren, if they had something going on over there and they didn't have enough housing, they could utilize the housing in the village or in the town. So that's moving forward. We probably, and again, the a plan like this to do a comprehensive plan and one that's really going to be that we can carry on to the future probably won't be totally completed until the end of next year. But we're going to be working on it we'll probably start meeting the end of September, early October. Hopefully, if the governor doesn't impose some more restrictions on us with now that the infection rate's starting to go up. But that's our plan right now.
When you said that you have your 20 to 30 people, obviously the police, the fire, the ambulance. I mean, when we think of emergency plans, we automatically think of those people. You had also mentioned volunteer groups. So just to give us an idea, who all would be involved in this emergency plan? Just when you look at the core of it, you have to cover a lot in it. It's not something that you can put together in a week or a month. Like you said, it's a long-term planning. But who's all involved in that? I'm just kind of curious.
So when we're also going to have part of the emergency plan, people think that you could just go to the county and they're gonna take care of everything. Well, that's not accurate because if you had a countywide incident, they're going to be down at their EOC and below the Civic Center, and they have to do things over all of the towns in Onondaga County. So it's up to each individual town to take care of that. So you have the emergency management, but Dan Weirs with the County Emergency Management has already said he's going to participate. There's going to be somebody there. We're going to have the Sheriff's Department as well. The only one that I haven't spoken to yet and gotten a buy-in, I'm sure I will, is the state police. But I spoke with Chief Cicerelli from the police chief with the sheriff's office. They're going to participate. But we're also, what we're going to do is a little different. Most of the emergency plans that I've seen didn't incorporate volunteers, but because we're doing it on the town level, I thought that we needed to incorporate the volunteers because, like Baldwinsville Helping Baldwinsville, that group was an ad hoc group that just got going, and they really provided a need to the community that wasn't there. So we want to put some structure to that. The food bank, we want to get them involved. Peace Incorporated, the churches. And the reason we want to do that, the senior centers, the Silver Fox and Canton Woods. And the reason we want to do that is when you go out in the community for any one group to try and determine who needs help, and to stay on top of it, it'd be almost impossible. But if we get the churches know in their congregation who needs help and who can help and who needs help. They have a list already available of current phone numbers, current addresses, who lives with them, their ages, what type of needs they have. Peace Incorporated is another one that has a whole list of all the people that come in, whether they're single parent families, how many kids they have, do they have housing needs, do they have transportation? That's one of the things most people that live in the town of Lysander Van Buren, you don't think about those things. But if you're on that lower economic scale, you might have a problem with transportation. So if the buses aren't traveling around, what do? We need to know those people, and we want to know those so we can get to those people and help them. Now, if you just divvy it up between the churches, their congregations, Peace Incorporated, the food bank, we got a built-in network to find out who needs help, and we have all their addresses because they have to give it to them. So I think that's an important part that we're going to incorporate into our emergency plan that I really haven't seen in other places. I'm not saying that there are none, but I haven't seen that locally or the ones that I've seen in New York State. And I'm going to really have that structure really sound. So we have people that are at the top, just like with Incident Command, ICS, and NIMS, National Incident Management System. They have 4 different categories. It includes logistics, it includes budgets, it includes now off the top of my head, all of a sudden I'm drawing a blank, but one of the other, and there were 4 areas that they cover. I want to have one more area that would include volunteers, and that would be right off the top with its own structure.
One thing that that I think was learned by a lot of the volunteers, the Rotary interviewed, or I guess hosted Pam Milak from Baldwinsville Helping Baldwinsville, and they had asked her one thing that kind of surprised her that she learned about the community, and it was the transportation, the people that weren't able to get out to get what they needed. And that's just not during COVID-19. That's pretty much a need that we have in our community that a lot of people aren't aware of. So you mentioned the transportation part of it. Sometimes people think of seniors who had to turn in their license or aren't able to drive. But there's often families that are 1-car families, and if the person takes the car to work, they don't have another way to get to where they need to be. So I think that was surprising that some people learned that it's not a given that you can hop in your car and run off to Wegmans or hop in your car and go to Target or something. There is a need here. So emergency or not, that's something that's here in the Baldwinsville area.
And that's the nice thing about putting this emergency plan and the structure. Once we get the emergency plan with the volunteer structure in place, that can work throughout the year. There doesn't have to be an emergency. If someone calls up, say they call up the town, they call me or they call the village or town of Van Buren, they call up and they ask, well, I have a need for transportation. They'd have all that information. They'd be able to put that person to the person that they need to get in touch with, or say they have a problem with housing. You could call Peace Incorporated, say they need some additional food. We'd put them in touch with the food bank. We'd have that structure in place and all the numbers would be up to date. We'd be able to do that throughout the year. And that's exactly right. And most people don't understand. I mean, most of the people in that live in this town and the surrounding towns, they have more than one car. They have two cars, but and when you have a couple of cars, you just take it for granted. But you have to remember that a lot of people rely on that bus service. If that bus service goes, or if Uber goes down, now what? What do you do? And that's where this emergency plan would come in to play with that.
Once the emergency plan's in place, and obviously that's not going to be, like you said, for quite some time to put it together, would it be located on a website or somewhere where people could access where it is or the numbers to go to? You know, how do you plan on getting out the information to the public of what the emergency plan is? Just, again, I'm just curious, but.
Yeah, I mean, the whole plan probably wouldn't be on the website, but how you access, I mean, the fact that we have a plan and any of the numbers that people would need to contact in an emergency would all be on all of our websites. So it would be on the and we'll have I'm in the process of updating our website, but it would be on ours. It would be on Baldwinsville and Van Buren's. The nice thing about that, and as well as if a church has a website, it would be on there. Peace Incorporated on theirs, food bank. So it would be spread out amongst a number of mediums where people would be able to access that easily. And they would all, my goal is to have them all linked together so that even if, like I had a woman calling up today about her pool. Well, she lives in Warner's and she called me. I said, well, I'd like to help you out, but Warner's is actually in the town of Van Buren. So I referred her over there. So that's the type of thing that I want to have in place. So if they do call somebody and it's not in their jurisdiction or we're not the people she or he should be contacting, we could direct them because we'd have all those numbers available to us, but also on the website, any number that we feel is important, not just me, but anybody. You know, that's why you have a committee. The more people you have, the more good ideas you come up with. If I have one good idea and 20 other people have one good idea, there's 20 good ideas. Hopefully I have at least one good idea. I mean, you get 20 people or 30 people in a room, you put one good idea per person. That's 30 good ideas. That's a pretty comprehensive plan. But yeah, that's a long answer to your question. But yes, we're going to try to make it as user friendly as we can.
You know, when we were putting together the community calendar, which of course it went live right when COVID-19 was happening. But one of the things that we kept coming back to, those of us that were in that committee, is the Baldwinsville Library really is kind of a hub of the Beeville area because, you know, even though it's technically in the town of Lysander, the town of Van Buren also holds different events there and stuff. So as you're talking about the churches and all the different websites, once again, that's a place that a lot of people go to for information. Whether we put those numbers on the community calendar. So if somebody's coming in to see what's happening in Baldwinsville, there's also like a side panel. So, you know, I can mention that to maybe Nancy Howe or someone too, as you're developing that, to make sure within that, that avenue, I guess, of communicating of what's going on in Baldwinsville, it's another place that people can get information as well. I think it's great. And I know it was something that you were trying to put together before COVID-19. You obviously weren't in office long enough to put something together before we got hit with it, but it amped up the realization that it's needed. You know, people saw what was really needed there. So I, for one, am excited to see how it all comes together and to know that it's in place. So the next time something happens, because we talked about that before, there's going to be something, right? Once this is done, there's going to be something else, unfortunately, that comes up that that people need.
Well, we had that SWAT call in the village. I mean, something. Even though that it was contained, there were probably, I don't know, maybe a dozen homes that were disrupted where people couldn't go back to their homes. Well, wonder if you don't have anywhere else to go. Wonder if you don't have any transportation to get somewhere to go. That's where we could just bring that right up, and we'd already have those things in place where we could take somebody. We'd know who to call, how to get them there. If they needed overnight transport or overnight lodging, we'd have the resources available where we could call and we just get it up and running. And even whether it's 12 or 1,200, that's what the emergency plan is for. I mean, I like the smaller ones better. They're a little bit more manageable, but the bigger ones are, you can handle them with the right type of preparation. I think I shared with you, I had a call at the bomb call at the Holiday Inn on Electronics Parkway. And there were over 300 people in there. Every room it was either 300 rooms or 300 people. All the rooms were taking up. We enacted our emergency plan. When I was working with the sheriff's department, we had our EOC right there. We brought in the fire department, the FBI, the marshals, state police, everybody. We were able to go through, make sure the bomb was okay, evacuate the building, take them to another location, house them there, go through the whole building room by room, and bring them all back within 4 hours. When you have a comprehensive plan, those are the type of things that you can do. And I got to say, the assistant fire chief for the village of Liverpool did a phenomenal job. He took a majority of the work off my back, where I was trying to handle the thing with the bomb and make sure that we deactivated it and things like that. He came up, he said, "You want me to get transportation and bring people out of here?" Yep. "You want me to you want me to find a place to house them?" "I got a place to house them." Yep. And that's all I did. I just turned it over to him. And that's how it works. You turn things over to other people that already know what their role is.
Nice. So I'll be curious to see as we talk how things develop, and get moving. Was there anything at your most recent board meeting or anything you've heard from the community that you'd like to update people on since we last spoke in, oh my gosh, what month are we in? From June to now?
Yeah, we have we have a meeting coming up on the 16th. Well, I know there were a number of people that wanted to open up the spray park, but we just couldn't get it done. It just wasn't, I didn't feel confident enough that we could do it safely. But we've been trying to open up as much as we can in the park, and we've been able to open up. I think the parks director told me that yesterday the playgrounds were going to be open, and we're starting to open up some things in the park where people can practice. I mean, there's different types of soccer and lacrosse. They can start practicing. There's some precautions that they have to take place. And when we have them sign out the locations, we make sure that they have a plan to ensure that all the people that are participating are safe. But we've been able to do that. The same thing with the playground equipment. We've been able to, utilizing the state and CDC guidelines, come up with a plan that make sure that we can disinfect that area, along with people taking some precautions on their own. Some of the residents or whomever is using those areas have to take some responsibility for themselves. But we were able, we felt comfortable that we could do that in a safe manner. We got the pavilions are going to be open, the playgrounds, the tennis courts. So those areas are open for business, and I'm sure people like to get that up and running.
What about the restrooms? I talked to the mayor of the village a week or two ago, and I know that was a concern too as far as the bathrooms. The county parks are opening them, but there's some confusion on how often they need to be cleaned, who's going to do it. How are the town parks doing with that?
I mean, that was and I'm just trying. We had so many conversations. I'm pretty sure that Mr. Birkinshaw runs the parks, did come up with a plan to open up the bathrooms. I don't think, I think there's at least one open over there, and they had to come up with a plan to keep it sanitized and keep it clean and all of those were the current CDC guidelines. So if we had guidelines for them, as long as we could say, hey, we're doing something based on the CDC and the Department of Health, because Bob Wicks doesn't know anything about that. I'm not an epidemiologist, and I don't know. So I have to rely on somebody else, and so does Mr. Birkinshaw, But I told him, look, if we can come up with a plan, if you can come up with a plan based on best information from these entities, and it goes along with those guidelines, and they're saying, yeah, this is a safe way to do it, then by all means, open it up. And he was able to do it. And I'm pretty sure the bathrooms were, at least one of the bathrooms were included in that.
Okay. In talking to the residents and stuff, that was the concern of going to the parks with the kids, is what happens if, the kids don't plan on when they're going to go to the bathroom. They just look at you all of a sudden and say, I have to go. So I think people will be happy to do their staff room.
I understand that. I understand that. Gotta go now.
Perfect. So, was there anything else you'd like to share with the town of? I know some people from Van Buren listen as well, but for the most part, the town of Lysander and what's been going on. I think it's beautiful. I was over at the building the other day. The landscaping that changes you guys have made over there. I think it's looking nice. At least the building's as friendly as possible, like you said, opening up, having the sanitation there. I call it a sanitation station. I had some of those for my 4th of July picnic, so people could sanitize as much as they possibly wanted to. But anything else, I mean, it's a beautiful place to live right now. I got to be honest, Bob, as I drive around and walk around, there's a lot of life to the town.
Well, Lysander is the fastest growing town in the county. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And I was asked about it, and I said, well, we got a safe community. We have good police service here. The state police, the sheriff's department, the village police. So it's a safe place to live. Crime is very low, and it's not that we don't have any crime, but it's the type of crime we hear is more nuisance type crime than real hardcore robberies and things like that. We have great schools. And when we were talking, a lot of people like to go to Fayetteville out in the Fayetteville School District. And the superintendent out there was in Marcellus, so I'm very familiar with him. And he is a great superintendent. They have a great school district. But I said, if you compare the Ballsville School District to the Fayetteville School District, I think we do pretty well. I think there's a good comparison between our schools and Fayetteville schools. All right, and then when you look at taxes, when you compare taxes, we're pretty reasonable. I know that people, complain about their taxes are too high, but if you compare our taxes to everybody else's taxes, they're pretty reasonable, and we're doing everything we can to keep them down. And we have a lot. I mean, you could, if you want to live in the village, you got like a semi-urban area, or you could go out to farther parts of the county and out like on Lamson Road and places, a little Utica like that over in Jacks Reeves. It's pretty rural over there. So you got a mixture of things, a mixture of housing. Housing's good. I think that we do pretty well in this community, and I got to give a minority leader, Barkley, some props here. He stopped in the office and wanted to know how things were going. And I asked him we have about $600,000 in grant money out there. And I was very concerned about it. And he got right back to me. And so we have a $50,000 grant for the park, which, and that came from him. So he said, as long as he's in there, which I think he will be for a while, as long as he's in there, we're going to get that. Now, when are we going to get that money? Just like there's another $440,000 grant for Willett Parkway and a $100,000 grant to do some a cold storage shed over in for the highway department. That's approximately $600,000. Those monies, I've been on the phone with them, and they've been getting back to me. Those monies are pretty much assured that we're going to get. And that was through Assemblyman Barkley, who's really been working hard on that, making sure that we're, that we know that it's coming. So, but I'm a little pessimistic, and I don't want to spend our money until I'm, as sure as I can be that we're going to get it. But I feel pretty good about that. Those 3 grants. And the way I look at it now, I would say we're 95% sure, at least I am, that money's coming in. I'm pretty confident it's coming in. So if we have to wait a little while, which we will, we might want to borrow for 6 months or a year, because money is very, very cheap right now. The interest rates on them, we could cover it with the grant money, because the grant, if you have to go out and take cover, get a loan till the money comes in, and the interest would be covered by the grant. So it wouldn't be money that the town residents would be paying. So we're looking into that as well. We're also looking into money that we have, different monies that we have out in bonding. We're looking to see if maybe it would be prudent for us to refinance that money. But some of those things, I mean, they're expensive. So we're looking into that, because money's cheap. So we're trying to see, okay, is it smart to take a long-term bond and refinance it? Those are things that we're doing to, try and keep as physically sound as we can, keep taxes down, and still get things done. Our roads are getting done. We're looking at Mott Road and Patchett Road now, and I'm sure that other people have seen other road work going on. Most of it's been done in the town, but those are two big projects that we're working on as well.
Nice. It was good to hear your confidence, because I'm a pessimist as well. Sometimes I don't believe it till I see it, type of mentality. And I know that the county has mentioned other grant money that they said was still going to be coming in. But I think you're right. I think for the most part, they want to see things still develop. They want to see things to keep people in the area. If you don't put money into to keeping Lysander safe and well maintained, people will leave it. It's not going to be the growing place that it is right now. So I think at the end of the day, it's nice to hear that we're still trying to move forward as a town and just kind of work through the bumps as things go. But money is definitely cheap. I mean, the housing market, we always think next year's the year everything's going to go up. Next year's the year, and it just keeps, staying to be a good time to buy, a good time to invest, that type of stuff. So it makes sense that the town would look at it that way as well. So.
Yeah, a couple of nice projects that we're working on, but I'm really not going to discuss them now because they're in the infancy stage. But if they come to fruition, and we should know within the next 6 months to a year, if they do, there's a couple of nice projects that are coming along. And, sometimes they fall short. So I'm not going to mention them now. So you look bad later. If they do come through, there'll be, I think, a couple of nice projects for the town.
Oh, I'll be looking forward to hearing what those are in 6 months to 12 months, right? I got to put it on my calendar to hound Bob Wicks. What's going on? Right, perfect. Well, thanks for your time again.
They did come through, so.
Perfect. So, all right. Well, it's been I took about almost 30 minutes of your time again, but I appreciate it. I know that you have a lot of other things going on, but there's a lot of business stuff that happens that people aren't aware of, and I know they're interested to hear it. And it's hard for you to get out there and say, "Hey, this is what's going on." Every day with your job. But the one thing I will say is the town's always friendly. Everybody that I talk to that calls in gets an answer. People answer the phone. Even during COVID-19, like you said, people were available to talk to and get moving. So I most likely I'm going to pop into your office later today, so I remember to sign in, sanitize, and this time give the paper to the appropriate person.
I can't blame it on you. If they were the counter of everybody else, they would have said, "Hey, where's your form?" But you were with me, so I'm telling everybody. I don't even ensure that I get it, but that's because I don't get that many. So.
True. So, all right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day, sir, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sean.
Sure. Bye.
Bye.